The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's Roadmap Webinar. I wanted to start by thanking everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend today's class. We realize it's the end of the year and obviously getting into the holidays, so thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'd like to start by introducing you to our fabulous presenters we're going to have. First, we have Todd Fisher, who is our co-founder, CEO, and coder extraordinaire. We're going to have Lori Fisher on today, who is also a co-founder. She is our COO and the real brains of the operation. And then I will also be presenting today. My name is Jessica Michaels, and I head our Google team here, and I'm also our product coach. As coach, I like to start my webinars with a couple of exercises to make sure everyone gets to know the control panel well. So if you can hear me, can you raise your hand on the go-to control panel? All right, I see hands going up, so that is good. All right. Awesome, looks like just about everyone can hear me. Excellent, so I'll put the hands down. Now, if you can see my screen, which is going to be the agenda screen here, will you raise your hand again? See, we see hands going up across the board. Excellent. So it looks like everyone can both see and hear me. And then lastly, I like to introduce the questions box. So if you can find the questions box on the GoToWebinar control panel, tell me a little something about you. Tell me who you work for and where you're dialing in from today. We have a large attendance, so we should have a pretty global representation. So let's see. I have Sal from Closet Works in Philly. Welcome. We have people from Atlanta. We have people in the UK. Welcome. We have people in Florida. Oh, I have somebody saying, I love this company. Excellent. Welcome. We love you too. Ooh, we have Skyline from Maui, Hawaii. Welcome. People from Texas, Chicago. Let's see, I got people in Raleigh, North Carolina. Somebody's from the North Pole. I don't believe you. Someone, Texas in the house. Welcome. We have South Florida. Let's see, we have Ohio. We have Annapolis. Hey, that's local. We're located in Serena Park, Maryland, so right down the street from you. Some people dialing in from Washington. We have people in Rome, Georgia. Excellent, welcome. Let's see, we have people calling in from Las Vegas. Welcome, welcome. And they are still piling in, so unfortunately I won't be able to welcome everyone. Great, so it looks like everyone can both hear and see me, and we know where the control panel or the questions box is in the control panel. So looks like we're in great shape. Today's webinar is going to be split into 3 sections. I'm going to start by highlighting some of the 2018 product releases. My portion of the webinar will be broken into a little bit of a show and tell style presentation. Then I'm going to pass it over to Lori, who's going to be covering the survey results. And then Todd is going to come in and he's going to be walking us through the roadmap for 2019. And then we'll wrap up with some live Q&A. And with that said, let's go ahead and begin the presentation. Wow, what an exciting year it's been. We have a ton of fabulous features and functions to explore today. But before we dig into the nitty-gritty, I wanted to quickly touch on the additional resources we've added this year. We host this webinar every year, but you don't have to wait until this webinar or the end of the year to discover what features we've rolled out each week. We actually publish by email now and by blog a weekly release that comes directly from our dev team meetings that I wanted to show you. And we've also introduced a few other great resources for you. We did an Ask an Expert series this year. So that's a blog where we interview our staff and highlighting different features. We have a full week of live workshop training that we do. We're hosting that once a month. We have weekly training webinars and API hours that we do. And we've also completely redesigned our support hub to be more user-friendly and separate our content by media type. So let's real quickly take a look at our new resources. Here we go. So here is our new support hub. Like I said, it's been redesigned. We have our live training schedule. This will have all of our upcoming events posted. So lots of great resources for you in here, as well as you can search. And let's just go to Google Analytics, for example. We're going to break it out by media type. So if you're more of an article reader, we have articles for you. Or if you prefer to take more of the video learning route, we have those for you as well. And then, like I said, we do have, on the blog side, we do have our weekly digest. So this is going to be what we're released weekly. It'll take you through that, as well as our Ask an Expert series. So we do have a lot of great resources out there for you. All right, so let's jump back over into the deck. There we go. All right. We had a strong focus this year on making our software smarter, adding additional automation features and personalized customization options, which really translates to be powerful workflow automation tools. Here's some of the automation tools we've enhanced and added this year. We've added the ability to do scheduled SMS reminders. We've added tokens and wrap-up panels, triggers. We've done a lot with our custom fields, and we've actually introduced some AI capabilities that are pretty exciting. So that was my tell. Now I'm going to switch in and actually show you some of these features. So I'm going to switch back into CTM. Here we go. Okay. So we've done a lot with our custom fields. Before, we always had the ability to add them into the contact panel, which we can see. We can add things like this. But one of the nice features that we've added this year is to have the ability to do dependent fields. So rather than just being a static field like event type, if I select wedding, then it'll actually populate a field here, and then it will be asking me to put in the wedding date. So that's pretty cool. There's lots of other use cases we've seen with people using this. Another example is if somebody is buying over the phone, it could be a product drop down, and then from there it could prop, you know, men's shirts and then the actual shirt number or something along those lines. So some really cool things we've done along the lines of custom fields and dependencies. And then with that, we've also added the ability to add custom panels. So here is some that we have. I created one for e-commerce. So I could put in all these fields, and then as an agent is on the phone, they could go in and fill these out and then push that data wherever you'd like. So pretty cool. All right. Some additional cool things we've done is going to be, we have introduced dual channel. So with that, we can do dual channel keyword spotting, transcriptions, audio recordings, and we can, which allows managers to keep a pulse on the conversation. So I'm actually going to switch into a different screen to show you what that looks like. All right, here we go. So here is a call that came in. And as you can see, we've actually color-coded the dual channel, which is pretty cool. And then as I play the message, it's actually going to show me who's speaking, and it will play the script. So as you can see, we've also speaker segmented it out here. So it's really easy to, at a glance, look at this and understand what's happening. And then if I hit play, it will actually change the transcription as it reads. Now, I don't think you guys can hear this because it's actually playing into my headphone and not through the thing, but some really cool things that we can do along those lines. All right, so we also have added in some really cool AI capabilities. So I'm going to switch back into this account and show you an example of that in our call queues. So if we come to our weighting, we can now put in really cool stuff using tokens. So actually, I think this whole waiting section is new this year too. So we can play different customized messages. So as people wait, after 30 seconds, I could program it to say, you know, your call is important to us. Please continue to wait for the next agent. And then we could tell it to send an additional one that says your expected wait time is, and this little token here will actually use AI and be able to project what the wait time is, as well as tell them their position in the queue. So some really handy tools to help reassure your clients as they wait that, you know, their call is important to them and let them know where they are in the line. So pretty cool stuff. So something else that's new this year is that spam calls are really becoming an annoyance, resulting in more hesitance in people picking up calls from unknown callers. So we've introduced a lot of text message automation, which allows marketers to re-engage with clients and earn that trust back. So I actually want to show you a pretty nifty automated workflow that I created for when someone fills out a form to schedule billable hours with me. So let's take a look at that. So I did this with the use of triggers. And this is going to be for when somebody fills out my calendar. All right. So to do this whole setup, it did have a few components I had to have in place. One is this is based off of a form. And because I wasn't using the form reactor, I'm actually using Zapier. But if you use the form reactor in our system, it would be seamless. And then it's going to use custom fields, panels, and of course the trigger that we're creating now. So here's what I created. So first, we always want to name it something easily identifiable. Next, we want to select when this will run. So this is going to trigger when a form reactor activity is created. So then using a custom panel and custom field, I'm saying I'm writing in the rule of if it is a billable hour and it is 15 minutes, then I want to send the caller a confirmation email or a confirmation text message letting them know that they have booked time with me, and using the tokens, I can actually have it autofill in the information. So in this case, if they booked a 15-minute billable time, that would actually show up here. It would say your billable hour time slot is booked, and then I look forward to speaking with you on the date that we selected. So a really fun way to automate a confirmation. Something else that we've added is the ability to put in delays. So I also want to send them a reminder. So I can put in a delay action, say to delay a day, and have it offset by the webinar date. So again, it's using a lot of intelligence here. So now this is scheduled to go a day before the actual appointment is booked. And then it's just going to be a reminder to the caller to let them know that they have a call scheduled with me on the booked date and time, and then give them some dial-in information. So that is a pretty fun way to use our automated workflows. Really, the possibilities of what you can do are endless, but very exciting and pretty cool. So yeah, so let's go back to our deck. There you go. So that was automated workflows. I could actually spend all day talking about those, but we have to move on to other exciting things. So on to reporting enhancements. So reporting is really, you know, the metrics behind call tracking metrics. And we've released some really useful customization for our reports. One of the things that we've done this year is, or had a big focus, was exports. Exports are now easier than ever. You can export your tracking numbers, your tracking sources, your call queues, and more. We've introduced the export log, which will log who and when exports are happening. And you can even export the export log. So there's exports extreme. We've also added multiple dimensions into our activity reports. So to show that, I'm actually going to switch back into the call log or into the account to show you that. Yeah, right. Here we go. So we've always had the drop down here with a ton of different dimensions that you can look at your call, text, and form data from. But what we've done that's pretty cool is now you can add in a secondary dimension so you can really pull some interesting stats. So maybe I want to look at something like the campaigns. So which campaigns are coming in, and for a secondary dimension, maybe I want to look at our campaigns by device. Oh, whoops. Here we go. So now I can see that it looks like actually our branding campaign is bringing in the most calls from Windows computers. So there's lots of really kind of interesting information we can pull just by introducing a secondary dimension. Another one we might want to look at is maybe medium by device. So CPC from Windows computers, again, seems to be our number one. So, as an advertiser, that might tell us that we want to target, Windows users more heavily with our CPC campaigns, or maybe target the other ones. There's lots of different ways we could translate this information. From a contact center side, we could look at agents maybe by status. Here we go. So now I can see, our agents. Luckily, this is answered the most. I can see, no answered. So it's just different ways that we can pick apart this stuff and find valuable information. Another one might be something as simple as tracking source. And maybe I want to see our tracking sources by state to see where are we getting our most calls per source. So it looks like direct from California is actually where we're getting our most calls by source. So pretty cool stuff. And then I also, nope, that's all I'm going to show here. All right, so let's head back on over to our slide deck. So moving on, we're going to talk about some contact center updates. So one of the things that's had a really strong focus this year is really just all contact center features and streamlining the soft phone interface with new features. We've added the ability to customize and personalize the agent experience and automate workflows with various features such as add personalized phone buttons, create unique call actions, send call data into third-party platforms such as Salesforce. We can set up custom scripts, as well as tailor the user interface to meet your needs. So we've also introduced team settings this year, which allows you to organize your call center into segmented teams to more effectively monitor small groups. With new manager roles, it gives you the capability to live listen, coach, barge, or even kill the call. So let's take a look at our real-time agent dashboard, and I will demonstrate these for you. Here we go. So this is our real-time agent dashboard. We've spent a lot of time actually improving the whole look and feel of this. I believe we've added in new custom statuses that you can actually program. The manager mode is one of the new ones, so I can actually see our different agents, what status they're in, are online. I can click into an individual and actually show, how many answered calls, how many missed calls, and show just a lot of information on that individual person. Spot check. So really handy for managers to be able to see a high-level overview, but then at the same time be able to dive into the real granular information of the caller. So lots of cool things that we've done on this page, as well as expand mode. Yep. So the compact mode is just going to show like the little stats, and then this will actually show you a larger breakdown of the agents. So some pretty cool stuff on the contact center side and the real-time agent dashboard. All right, so let's head back over to our slide deck. Okay, so up next we have integrations. We've made so many integration enhancements and added so many new ones, it's actually a little difficult to decide which ones to highlight. So I picked 4. We have done a lot this year with these 4. We have Slack, Stripe, Facebook, and Zoho. So let's start with Slack. So Slack is meant to keep your teams informed. When you connect your Slack account, you'll be able to use simple commands to see which of your colleagues are online or currently on calls. The integration will be visible inside the Slack app with updates that will keep you aware of your team's activities and progress. This provides the team with more insight on what each individual is currently working on and who they are working with. So shout out to our developer, Jeremy. He spent a lot of time working on the Slack app, and it is constantly evolving. Up next, we have Zoho. Zoho has kind of been our new shiny item lately. Zoho connects your calls, texts, and form fills to contacts inside the Zoho CRM platform. With Zoho CRM integrated, incoming calls from existing contacts will be displayed in the contacts information, and you can choose to edit the records right inside of our call log and will automatically be updated in the Zoho CRM. This creates a seamless process for your agents to be able to view and edit the caller data as the calls come in, providing them with all the data they need to best assist the client and provide them with the opportunity to upsell the deal on the fly. The Zoho integration uses triggers, so you'll be able to choose and qualify the data that is sent between the platforms and under which conditions it should be sent. All right, up next we have Stripe. Call tracking metrics integration with Stripe enables users to process secure credit card payments over the phone. It's also one of the many tools designed to help agencies and resellers sell call tracking to their clients and networks. Once CTM and Stripe are linked, usage and billing information will be sent into Stripe so that your customers' credit cards can be billed at the rate and frequencies you set based on your pricing model. But this is all kind of old news with Stripe. We've introduced a really cool built-in credit card widget this year that allows your agents to process credit card transactions right in the call log while remaining PCI compliant. As soon as the credit card widget is activated, it stops the recording, and the credit card information never lives within CTM. Once the payment has been processed, the call will automatically be scored and converted with the sale amount. The transaction ID and the customer ID data will automatically populate in a custom panel in the call log. With this data, you can utilize tools like triggers to send e-commerce events into Google Analytics or send sales data into a CRM like Zoho or Salesforce. So in just a minute, I'm actually going to show you a quick example of that. And then lastly, for the integrations, we had a Facebook integration rollout this year. This has been very exciting. The Facebook integration allows us to connect offline engagements such as calls and texts back into Facebook's ads and audiences. So the integration allows Facebook advertisers with offline leads and sales from Facebook ads to connect their conversions back to the original ad that the user interacted with along the way. This helps advertisers build a more complete view of their campaign by viewing CTM activities in conjunction with Facebook reporting to optimize audience targeting and ad spend. So that is one use case. What we can also do is push specific activities from your call log, for example, calls over a certain length or maybe scored calls, into Facebook. But these don't have to be limited to just Facebook tracking sources or calls. We give you the ability to push calls into Facebook as offline events, and from there you can create a really targeted audience to remarket to, or even create a lookalike audience from. So you could think about it this way. So say you're an auto dealership and you're using our keyword spotting tool and tagging calls when a caller says they're looking for a certified pre-owned SUV. And you choose to send all those calls into Facebook, regardless of the original source. So they could be from, Google Organic, Bing Paid, Direct, everything. And what you're going to do, or what you can do, is add them to a remarketing audience that will show them your finest pre-certified certified pre-owned SUVs, allowing Facebook to further influence and inform the potential buyers, adding an additional touch point and pushing them further down the conversion funnel. I've personally been pretty involved in our Facebook integration, and it's been an adventure getting into the Facebook space, and I'm personally grateful to have been able to work with so many of our clients setting up their Facebook integrations, and it's been really incredible and amazing to see the talent and the strategies that a lot of our clients are using. So, hats off to you all. And I would love to hear how your business plans are utilizing Facebook and call tracking. Seriously, let me know, and maybe we can set up time and put you on our blog in a case study. All right, so real quick, I wanted to show you the Stripe credit card. So let's go back into the call log. Here we go. Now, I already have this integrated, so it would be as simple as hitting the charge. As soon as this populates, as you can see, it's going to stop the recording. It's going to pre-populate some information that it's just pulling from my contact. And I could, put in my charge amount, and then I can just put in the credit card number. And then you have the ability to, or the option to mark it as converted, so it'll automatically score the call log. Yeah, and then you would just hit process payment, and this would go through. Pretty cool, right? Super simple to use. And I'm just going to go ahead and cancel out of that. And then once, if that did run, it would create a new custom panel and then auto-populate the transaction ID. So some pretty cool stuff. All right. Up next, we have released 2 new apps this year. So that for the iPhone and Android phones, allowing you to access every aspect of our highly functional software, all from your mobile phone. So with the new releases, we've really streamlined our login, which allows you and your agents to log into the app under your corporate credentials. It's going to have live monitoring, which allows you to keep an eye on your calls even when you're on the go by supervising your agent in real time on your mobile phone. Agent productivity, you can view and switch calls, generate reports, or reply to texts, all while maintaining your connection to an active call. And also gives you the ability to work from anywhere. You can manage your entire phone system, engage in live calls and texts, and generate any report all from the palm of your hand. Both apps are free to download and can be found right in your app store. So if you haven't already done it, download them. All right. So for the next part, I'm going to pass the presentation over to Lori to discuss the security and compliance enhancements we've made this year. This was actually a huge project to undergo, and Lori really spearheaded the whole project. So here's Lori, and thanks for all your hard work on this. And I will pass it on over to Lori.
Thank you, Jess.
No problem, and the screen should be coming your way.
Got it. Thanks. So I get to talk about the exciting GDPR. I won't spend too much time on this, but I wanted to just give everybody a highlight of some of the enhancements that we made, both on the kind of policy side and on the app, to make sure that not only we were compliant with GDPR, but that we were giving our customers all the tools that they needed to be compliant with GDPR. So GDPR, as many of you know, became enforceable in May. It doesn't just apply to EU organizations. It also applies to anybody outside of the EU who has EU residents as customers or are monitoring the behavior of their personal data for some reason. GDPR, kind of like HIPAA, you can think of it as applying to personal data. That's anything that directly or indirectly identifies a person. And there's a number of requirements. For example, you need to make sure you have appropriate consent, that you can justify why you're collecting data. And individuals have a lot more rights over their data with GDPR. So they can ask you to do things with their data, like edit it or delete it, that you have to be able to comply with. And because a lot of people are using our platform and to collect data, we are kind of a sub-processor or a processor of theirs. So we need to make sure that they have the tools that they need to be able to comply with it. In terms of some policy updates, I just wanted to mention them just in case you haven't checked them out this year, and you find yourself kind of having these questions. We did roll out new privacy policies, and they break down into two different components. We have the scenario that covers data that call tracking metrics is collecting as a controller, and then the situation where our customers are collecting data as a controller. So you can see those two policies, and if you ever are wondering kind of what are you responsible for and what are we responsible for, I always recommend that people take a look at that. We also have our new terms of service. Those have a new section on international transfers, and also again kind of further clarify what obligations we have and what obligations you have if you are kind of controlling the collection of data using our platform. We also maintain a listing of our sub-processors in order to comply with GDPR, and we have a process for adding new sub-processors to evaluate their security and their own processes to make sure they're a type of sub-processor that we want to bring on. And if you ever receive a request from one of your customers to understand kind of who we are and who are the vendors that we use, the sub-processor listing on our site is a good place to go, and you can find that all in our legal hub, which you can get to from our calltrackingmetrics.com main page. In terms of new features, we had a lot of existing levels of security that helped people get pretty far on the GDPR compliance front. So things like two-factor authentication, unique logins, PINs, and passwords to access recordings all help. But some new things that we added both automatic and manual redaction options, which give you the ability to control how long personal data is stored within your call tracking metrics account. And you can choose to have that information redacted every 30, 60, or 90 days, depending on kind of how long you think you need it for your own reporting purposes. You can also manually redact. So if you, for example, had a customer contact you to say, I want you to delete all of my information, you could redact that information from call tracking metrics using the manual redaction. So some nice ways to control kind of what data you're keeping in your account. And again, it's all about kind of what do you need to have and can you justify having that information as necessary for what you're doing for your customer. And then lastly, consent checkboxes on form reactors. A lot of customers are using our forms to collect personal data. So you have that ability to gather that consent as you're collecting the information. Okay, so that is the end of our kind of 2018 highlights, and I wanted to jump in to just talk a little bit about a survey that we conducted this fall prior to turning it over to Todd to talk about our roadmap for next year. So this survey was the first time that we've conducted a broad-reaching survey across all administrators on pretty much all aspects of our offering. We wanted to capture the feedback as we were headed into strategic planning for 2019, and we're really appreciative of everyone who took the time to complete the survey. We had a lot of responses, and it really helped us to make decisions about budget, staffing, and technology investments for the coming year. Some things stood out to us that I wanted to share with you. One is around the education front. We heard a lot from customers that they want more onboarding and professional services options to help them get their accounts set up. And we realized also that a lot of customers did not know about the professional services and training that we already offer. So there were two big takeaways for us. One, we need to do more to let customers know about these services that are already available, many of which are for free, and also those add-on services that they can choose to add on that can help them with specific aspects of their account. And the other big takeaway was that we needed a way to more easily package up all the extra help we can provide into a more prescriptive consultative plan so that customers can have confidence that their accounts are set up using best practices from their industry and from the way other customers that have done it that we have learned from across the years. So as a result, you're going to see more training seminars, you're going to see better promotion of them in the app, kind of when it's relevant, and also the rollout of new fast track plans that customers can add on across their first 60 days, which will basically put all of the work on our team to get your account set up according to best practice. Another thing that stood out to us in the survey results is around new services. And it was really interesting to hear that customers want to hear from us more, which was great to hear. We would like to talk to you more, and we feel like we have a lot to say. And we offer so much more than call tracking, but it's not always obvious to customers how to incorporate those other services into the traditional call tracking use case. So you think about services like Form Reactor or our SMS or our outbound dialer. We are going to be doing more to market to our customers how other customers are using all of those services together, and most importantly, what results are they seeing from them. We're also really excited about an in-app tool that we're launching in January that is going to offer advice and suggestions in the application based on what you've already done in your account and your history of your account and your particular use case. We know that customers are really busy, so we can't always just expect you to kind of read our blog every day. We're going to be trying to communicate more in the moment in the app when it's relevant. Third trend that stood out to us was support. We love our support team here, and it was really wonderful to hear all the feedback from customers about them. And we see two trends happening on the support side. One is our issue resolution and our satisfaction scores continue to rise. We also, though, are seeing more and more contacts on average each year from our customers. And this makes sense because customers are increasingly using our software to do complicated things. They're powering call centers, they're powering big dialer campaigns and mass texting campaigns. And these are critical things that have a lot of pieces to them that need to get right. And it generates a lot of questions. So this in-app tool that we're launching is going to try and make it easier for customers to get quick answers when they need it at their fingertips, and to suggest things that they may not have even thought of, like a trigger or a custom field or some kind of automation that could make what they're doing easier based on what the app kind of detects that they're trying to do. And then lastly, reporting. We received a lot of reporting requests, and overall customers want more customization, more dimensions and levels to see their data. And their varied use cases are resulting in a lot of data being collected, and there's so many different angles to it. In 2019, we have a number of initiatives planned to add more ways to report on all this data, and ways to zoom way in and way out, because we now have all these levels of reporting that are needed. You know, as you think about an advertising agency, they need to be able to see things across their whole agency, not just at the customer level. And similarly with a contact center, you need to be able to see things at a company, team, queue, and agent level. So we're adding more ways to see things at those different levels. And Todd will be talking more about that. Integrations. So in the survey, we asked about integrations. And what we heard from customers the most, as you can see from the pie chart, is that they want us to double down on the big integrations that we have. There are definitely some new suggestions here, which are very interesting, definitely suggestions that we're going to take a look at in 2019. And when we look at how many integrations customers use on average, 5 years ago, this was maybe 1 or 2 integrations. But today, it's not unusual to see customers using 5, 6 of our integrations, spanning analytics, CRMs, and various advertising platforms. So not surprising, they want us to stay focused on enhancing those integrations. So we are both going to do that and look closely at new integrations to see which ones make the most sense to roll out. And we're also talking to non-customers to find out what is holding you back. Is there an integration that we don't have that you would like to see in order to become a customer? So last trend I wanted to call out was our top features. This was really interesting to us and kind of confirmed a trend that we have been seeing. When customers were asked to list out their top 3 features that they use with call tracking metrics, call center tools was in that top 3 the most. This is great for us to see because we've been very focused on rolling out new communication tools and new channels and reporting. While we never will lose focus on marketing attribution, what we're finding is that customers don't think about attribution on its own. It's now in the context of all of the ways that they're communicating with their customers. And they don't want a solution that just tracks attribution. They want something that does that and also powers all of those ways that their customers and their prospects are communicating with them. So that was very interesting to us to see and help to confirm things that we have planned for our roadmap in 2019. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Todd to talk a little bit more about what we've got planned for next year.
All right. So 2019, we have a lot of new things in the works. We're excited to get these new features out to everyone. And I think that the core areas of the product that we're going to be focusing on would be reporting, integrations, customer success, communications tools, and customer experience, which I always like to say is bigger than user experience. And that is, we're going to obviously focus on how you interact with call tracking metrics, but we really want to focus on making it more effective and efficient for you to work on within call tracking metrics. So think about if something is taking you a lot of time, something is tedious, right? 2019 is going to be about how can we make it so that you're not spending a lot of time doing repetitive tasks within the platform. I think we have done quite a bit to streamline that over 2018, and we're just going to be doubling down on that over 2019. The customer success that we've launched this year, we're going to continue to grow that team. That team has been, I think, very effective in reaching out to our customers and working with them and helping our customers find more advanced solutions, reduce costs, and solve real world business problems. On the reporting front, so we really want to supercharge our reporting. That means we want to focus on advanced reporting tools for our call centers. We understand that within the call center space, a lot of what you're looking for is workforce management software, and we know that the call center functionality that we provide is critical to that. And so we want to make that even easier and more effective. We want to make sure you can drill down and really understand why did something very minute happen on a call that could have had an impact that resulted in either having a sale or losing a sale, or whatever the outcome may have been. It's important to understand why. On the marketing front, we want to make sure that you have both visibility at a granular level, at the account level, but allow you to expand that view across many accounts and see cross-cutting views of your data that allow you to optimize in ways that you never could before. On the integration front, obviously, broadening the scope of integrations. So, we have an outstanding Salesforce integration today, Zoho integration. There's other CRMs that we want to bring on board. We plan to do that in 2019. Communications tools, if you have met me before, you'll know that this one is close to my heart. I really do like the communication side of this business. And I think that my hope would be that in 2019, this webinar is not hosted by GoToMeeting, but by some software we have written ourselves. That would be one of my goals. So you know that we have this app already for Android and iOS that allows you to make and receive phone calls, text messages. Some of you have had experience with our SIM card functionality, where you'll be able to actually go using mobile phones without an app. We hope to make that a bigger part of call tracking metrics next year. We also hope that we can get into different types of communication platform that are relevant to call tracking, in that you're driving marketing to your website and you want to engage with the customer. There's different mediums other than phone in which you can engage, and we hope to start to offer more of those mediums. So with that, let's go to the next slide. So summarizing the reports, again, it's going to be a focus on contact centers, more actionable insights, more advanced analytics, think crosstalk kind of analysis, alerting about anomalies that we're detecting during calls or within the context of a call queue, or anomalies that may span across many accounts. Often you'll have some configuration, right, that is sort of deployed across many accounts, and it's good if we can detect an anomaly and alert you to that before it becomes a major issue. Marketing agencies are a huge focus in terms of our roots, and what does it mean? It means that we want to make sure we continue to follow the meaningful metrics that you're looking for. So in terms of how you manage your campaigns and how you can effectively do that across many, many customers. Now, some of that will be in terms of tooling to make it easier to pull those reports, and alerting to make sure you're aware of the information that those reports are providing. So on the integration front, so this is where we'll be continuing to refine the existing integrations. There's so many things that we can do to enhance that Salesforce integration. There's so many things that we can do to enhance the Zoho integration, and then there's many new marketing automation platforms that we can integrate with. There are communication tools that we can integrate with, and I expect to see a lot of this happening and coalescing into 2019. So I mentioned the customer success as a major focus of call tracking metrics, and that really comes down to one thing. It's we create software here because we have customers that benefit from that software. So we'll be continuing to listen to you guys. What are your needs? What are your quick wins that we can deliver on? And what are your long-term goals that we can help you achieve? We want to always have an open ear to that. That's always going to drive our decision-making, and it's always going to provide you with a better product. If you ever had a phone call with me, you've probably heard me say, well, I love this idea. Now we need to think about how does this work across many customers, because this could be an idea that's applicable to multiple customers, right? So best delivered if it appeals to more than one. So communications tools. So again, I think on the communications front, like I said, hopefully in 2019, this webinar can be delivered to you via cross-tracking metrics, and I hope that that means you'll be able to have join the webinar perhaps over our mobile app. You'll be able to share in the presentation that way. I want to focus on the contact center components to that, focusing on how to make it easier for you to communicate with call tracking metrics. Thinking about how we distribute calls today via a queue, intelligently selecting those agents. Is there perhaps some machine learning components to that where we can potentially select agents based on agent performance automatically for you? So routing could become potentially more intelligent that way. So ideas like that we'd love to explore in 2019. The fun thing about 2019 is that it's not here yet, so it's completely open to ideas. Let's go to the next one. And this comes into customer experience. So when I really think about how are we going to achieve all of these goals in 2019, one of the main things that we're going to be focusing on is how do we effectively provide a new interface to call tracking metrics while not disrupting your workflows. So we'll be introducing a toggle that will allow you to switch between a new version of the UI and the classic version of the UI. If you've used Salesforce, you'll be familiar with Lightning and Classic. So same sort of idea. And why are we doing this? Well, it's to help make the UI more expandable. So we know that there's more capabilities and functionality that we want to introduce into the product. And in order for us to really do that, we need to kind of rethink some of the architecture of the application as it is today, so that we have places to put those new features and organize features so that you can spend less time trying to find them. right? So that's going to be a major focus of 2019. So some of that is also going to fall into the hands of extending our workflow automation triggers that we've spent a lot of time in 2018 working on, and sort of allow that to expand beyond just the call or activity records that we have today. So questions? Let's go to the questions. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Todd. Okay. So now we wanted to make sure we leave time for everybody to ask some questions. Hopefully we were able to cover some of the things you were wondering about for next year, but we wanted to have this be an opportunity for people to throw out any ideas or suggestions of things that they'd like to see us focused on, or anything that you're wondering about. So we will give folks just a minute to add their questions to the question panel and go to webinar, and we will start to answer those. Okay, so it looks like we've got a question that's come in that is, what is the best way to learn about the new professional services that you are offering? That's a great question. So if you have a customer success manager, definitely reach out to them. As Todd mentioned, our customer success team has been developed across this year, so we are still in the process of having customer success managers assigned to each customer. So if you already have one, go ahead and reach out to them. If not, reach out to our support team. We have a number of people on that team that can talk you through the different options and different things that you might want to add on to your account if you feel like you just need some assistance kind of reconfiguring it or getting a particular integration set up, or perhaps you have a new client coming on and you're an agency and they have a more complicated use case. We can help you get that account set up from scratch. We have a question about Microsoft Dynamics. If that is on the agenda, Todd, maybe I can have you answer that one.
Yes. Is yes a good answer? Okay, I'll stop.
Okay, that is a good one. And Microsoft Dynamics is an interesting one because it's one that did not come up a lot in our customer survey, but we hear about it a lot when we talk to our prospects. It is something that definitely something that people want, so that's one we're excited to work on next year. Do you integrate with Nutshell? I'm not aware of that. That is definitely one that we will look into. That hasn't come up. That did not come up yet as we were looking through the survey results, but definitely one that we will look into. So thank you for that suggestion. We have a question about bulk texting, and the question is, is it better to use the desktop app or use a third-party tool for the integration? Todd, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, so I would love to talk to you more about your use case with that. I would imagine that our bulk text messaging platform would be ideal, because then you have all the attribution right inside of call tracking metrics. Also, if somebody chooses to call you from the text message, then you get attribution based on that call. So you get the whole sort of everything tracked all in one place. Happy to talk more in depth about your use case for that and see if there's something there we can do more.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Let's see, we've got a question about FTP. So secure call log exports. We have the FTP solution. Are there any plans for implementing a secure email option for call log exports straight from the platform helpful for answering ad hoc reporting requests where sensitive information is in play? Todd, I'll have you answer that one.
Yeah, I think that you should be able to do this today. So using email to send yourself a, either a, you could redact certain sensitive information from the email, and then you could include a link to the call log in the email so that there's a login to access the sensitive information. So you could include some of the basic information in that email and then provide a link that would require authentication to get to the sensitive information. I think you would have to authenticate someone in order to provide that sensitive information securely. So there'd have to be a login component to that in order to do this securely, right?
Okay, thank you, Todd. We have a question about how to know if you have a customer success manager yet. That's a great question. You would have heard from them if you have one. Like I said, we're in the process of introducing them across our customer base. If you haven't heard from one, then what I would do is shoot a note to info@calltrackingmetrics.com and just ask them if you do have a customer success manager yet assigned to you. And if you have any specific questions or things that you want to talk about, include that in your email, and that way we can make sure that the right person on the team reaches out to you, because we have, even if you don't yet have a particular person assigned to your account, we have lots of people here that can help, and we'd be happy to talk through anything that you'd like to talk about and help you out. Question about the SIM card offering. Will that require having a SIM card per agent for proper attribution if we wanted agents to be able to operate in the field? Answer is yes. Yes. So we are just in the first stages of kind of beta introducing this to a couple of customers. So yes, you can envision it. It'll be kind of like a cell phone plan where there will be a fee per month that will give you a certain amount of minutes, data, text messages, and you pop the SIM cards into an existing device that you have, and essentially then all the activity on that phone will be tracked in your call tracking metrics accounts. So this is one we're really excited about, and you should be hearing more about this in the next few months. Let's see. Question about the redaction. Would redacting information change information from previous months, or would the redacting start from the day you use it? That's a great question. It will redact retroactively. So if you, for example, want to start redacting and you choose, like a 30-day redaction period, that first time it runs, it's going to redact everything that is more than 30 days old. So yeah, you can turn it on and kind of do an initial cleanup, and then it'll keep up on it and redact things every 30 days for you. Question, another integration request. Will it be possible to see an integration with Data Studio in the first few months of 2019? Todd, I know this is something that you've been looking into. Did you want to talk a little bit about Data Studio at all?
All right, yeah, so we've done some work already on Data Studio, and actually today our APIs are all compatible with it, and I know we have some customers that are pulling data into Data Studio, and I guess this is something that what we'll do is we'll work on publishing a blog post probably that explains how to do this in lieu of us actually having the official kind of, polished looking, easy to use Data Studio. It'll be sort of copy and paste some code, and then voila, you have your Data Studio integration. Yeah, at least as a V1 beta, and then obviously we will push out a official one sometime in 2019.
Okay, thank you, Todd. I know we are running up against time. We've got a few more integration requests that have come in, so we are definitely going to make note of all of those and some other requests that we will follow up with folks on individually. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. We've had great responses to the survey we did this fall and for registration for this webinar. So we really appreciated your time today. If there's anything we can help with, please shoot us a note. Any suggestions, anything that we didn't cover, definitely want to hear about it. And thank you for being customers, and we look forward to next year.